Okay, I've recovered the refrigerant down to 1,000 microns, and as you can see, I pulled 375 grams of refrigerant out. The requirement by the factory is 420 grams. But wait a minute, isn't there guys on YouTube and on forums and even the Toyota manual where you take a piece of paper out of the manual and it tells you if you have a clear sight glass that your system is full? That doesn't look full. And so that's what's recovered. That is what's required. The statement is poor cooling on hot days. We have one of those really nice HEPA filters that are really airflow restrictive but work really good for removing dust, and they clog really fast. But they don't look clogged, but it's the dust particles that make them restrictive. So you have companies out there that'll want to sell you cans with special lubricants and additives in it to tell you they're going to make it cooler. You have companies that want to sell you maybe software or something and say, oh, their software compensates for variable displacement compressors and all that kind of stuff. You'll see that the pressures won't change either. Once I fill it back up, they'll be the same. How can you compensate for something that doesn't change when what's compensating is the ECM inside the car's computer changing the output of the compressor to constantly keep it at as a constant, so long as the refrigerant range is within a range that it can compensate for. But then you're trying to compensate for a customer who puts in a allergy eliminating Heimer filter inside a car that slows down the airflow over the evaporator, that will make the evaporator colder. Doesn't mean it's going to put out more BTUs, remove BTUs from the air and do more volume, but could make it feel colder. Or the temperature sensor on the evaporator, by a restrictive airflow, picks up a colder evaporator, think it's doing its work, and then starts tailoring back your compressor, choking down your compressor displacement. But yet somebody's going to sell you a piece of software, tell them you can top off and you can fill a car by using software, or diagnose whether it is full or not full. Not gonna happen. That's not how it works. And these old guys who keep telling you on internet forums and YouTubes and stuff like that, yet you use the sight glass or you go by some pressure temperature on a variable displacement compressor, you don't do that. Unless you're in a really hot place where you could max out the compressor at full speed. You have max load over the evaporator. Everything is set max. There's no variables like fans that are kicking on and off, because unless you could get a long stable runtime with no variation, you can't get true readings. So let's go back into filling this back up and see what we come out with after our clear sight glass with 375 grams in there, and we should have 420, but yet the customer doesn't get cooling on warm days. All right, see you guys in a minute.